So, we keep getting questions about people who are living in the United States or American citizens who want to maybe move to Canada. Sometimes they want to do it for job purposes or for, better economies or, political reasons. But we're going to go over some of the ways that an American can come to Canada. First of all, would just be as a visitor. They're allowed to come. You don't need a special visa or anything, as long as your stay's a short period of time. You can also, if you have family members, grandparents, kids, whatever, who's close to you, you can apply for a super visa, staying for a little extra time for an extended period, 6 months or a year sometimes even. But if you want to stay more permanently, we have to look at the ways of doing that. There are temporary residents. So people come to work in Canada with permission from the government. They get a work permit to do so. And, it's easier in some situations. If you fall under the trade agreements between Canada and the United States, then that's an easier way of doing it. Otherwise, you might have to find an employer who's willing to hire you. They may have had a hard time finding an employee with your skill set or just in general in Canada, in which case they can do what's called as a labor market analysis and see, they basically show the government that we've tried to find a Canadian to do this job and we couldn't, so we'll have to hire from outside of Canada to help the Canadian economy. Without these people to work, we have troubles. There's also opportunities through self-employed people. So if you can provide a benefit to Canada, the government will look at that and say, hey, we want that person to come here. Maybe you're moving in a business to Canada, or maybe you have an existing business in the United States that's expanding into Canada, and they'll look at that as a self-employed person and allow you into the country and allow you to work. Still, other times we have people who are here for just short periods, where they're coming into the country just for a specific contract, whether it's 6 months or a year, or sometimes even just a few days. So there's lots of opportunities there, and you want to discuss with your immigration lawyer on how to best secure those. Once you've been in Canada for a while and you want to stay more permanently, then you can apply for what's called a permanent resident status, which means that you're allowed to stay here, and once you're a permanent resident for a certain amount of time, you can apply for citizenship if you want. There are people who remain a permanent resident for years and years, even decades, and some people want to transfer over that to a more permanent ability sooner. It's entirely up to you. Some people find it's easier maybe to travel certain places on a Canadian passport. Some people just decide for personal reasons. There's not a requirement to terminate your citizenship at another country, and so there's lots of opportunities for people in order to do that. Lastly, I want to talk about some provincial programs. So if someone wants to immigrate from the United States to Canada, there are provincial programs that are set out by each province where maybe they have specific needs in terms of filling jobs. For instance, in Alberta, we're going to have a lot more work related to prairies and farming and agriculture and things like that compared to maybe the Far East Coast. Far East Coast might need more for the maritime-related industries. Each province gets to decide what's important for them. Once a person is established inside Canada, they're allowed to move, but those programs will let you get into the country and into that province to be able to work, support your family, and start your move to becoming a Canadian citizen from your American status.